In this lesson, I'll be introducing the very famous and important Fisher's framework that will help you differentiate between supply chains and their requirements. We'll talk about some KPIs you can use to determine the characteristics of a supply chain that is the right fit for your product or service. If you're working in a global business right now, chances are you have experienced poor coordination between your company and your suppliers at least a few times. Or your company has had issues delivering the exact quality and quantity of goods ordered by your customers. You might have sometimes experienced excess inventory in your warehouse, or sometimes lack of inventory needed to manufacture a product or offer a service. These examples are only the tip of the iceberg when it comes to the issues you might experience in your business if you do not identify the right supply chain for your product and your overall corporate strategy. For simplicity, we'll use the term products here to refer to both products and services. Is there a framework to help you determine your supply chain characteristics quickly and efficiently so that you can avoid some of these issues? Fortunately, the answer is yes. In 1997, Marshall Fisher introduced the concept of functional and innovative products in his seminal work published in Harvard Business Review entitled, "What is the right supply chain for your product?" Fisher argued that almost all products can be placed on a spectrum from functional to innovative. Now, what are some of the examples of these types of products, and why should we care about this categorization? Imagine you go to a shopping mall and you have a long list of groceries to buy for the upcoming week. So you push your trolley into a store and you look onto the shelves and cross off items from your list as you go. But after you're done, if you're anything like me, you decide to have a look at the department stores in the shopping mall and try on some clothes. Or if you're in tech, you'll visit the electronics stores. So sometimes you head out for fruit and veg and come home with a bag of groceries and a 70-inch Sony Smart TV. Well, sometimes this happens. Now back to Fisher. Think about how often you do grocery shopping. Probably every weekend or twice a week on average. And do you have any certain items in your grocery list that you buy every week, like dairy, fruit, and vegetables? Chances are that you do. But how about electronic devices? How often do you go and buy a smart TV and an expensive headset or the latest Alexa? Probably not as often and as frequent as the grocery shopping. Most of us follow the same shopping behavior when it comes to grocery and consumer electronics. That is the main difference between functional and innovative products. What you need to pay attention to here is that for functional products, such as grocery items that satisfy basic needs, demand is fairly stable and predictable with long life cycles. The demand pattern for innovative products, such as consumer electronics, is less predictable and follows a shorter life cycle. Innovative products require constant innovation to be desirable by customers. As an example, consumers might change their smartphone every year to enjoy the latest technological offerings, such as augmented and virtual reality, a more intelligent personal assistant, and a better quality camera. Despite the more unpredictable demand pattern, innovative products offer higher profit margins. As a rule of thumb, you can consider product life cycle, profit margin, product variety, and lead time to identify functional from innovative products. For an innovative product, usually product life cycle is shorter, profit margin is higher, there is more product variety, and lead times are shorter. For a functional product, the product life cycle is longer, profit margin is lower, there is less product variety, and lead times are longer. A very important takeaway here is that innovative and functional products require two different supply chains. Fisher calls the supply chain of functional products physically efficient and supply chains of innovative products market responsive. The main difference between a physically efficient supply chain and a market responsive supply chain is that in physically efficient supply chains, the main focus of the supply chain manager is on minimizing costs. In market responsive supply chains, the main focus is to enable their supply chain to respond quickly to changes in consumer demand while minimizing out-of-stock items, product markdowns, and obsolete inventory. Going back to your example, for grocery products and more specifically dairy products and their physically efficient processes, the main objective of the dairy supply chain is to minimize costs. This could be done, for example, through maintaining a stable level of dairy production and minimizing the inventory of dairy products in their warehouses. This is critical, especially for products that have limited shelf lives and are perishable. For consumer electronics, such as a smart TV, for example, the story is different. Here, the manufacturer is aware they can only use the same production technology for a limited amount of time, and they need to make sure that their assembly line, as well as the inventory levels required to make smart TVs, will satisfy the volatilities in customer demand for a short period of time. They also need to make sure they can minimize the smart TV write-downs once the TV is in less demand in the market and after the newer models are out. For newer models, the TV manufacturer might need to use suppliers that offer the technology and components the manufacturer might not have at the time in their supply chain. For the new supplier, the manufacturer needs to make sure the quality of the component is within their expected quality specifications. The manufacturer might also need to redesign their manufacturing line for the new products. And this cycle is repeated for each new product. Fisher's framework is a good starting point for making alignments between your strategy and your supply chain. How you do this is what I'm going to talk about in the next video. But for now, have a look at your business and think about whether you have the right supply chain for your product based on Fisher's framework.